Je pensais ne pas être là aujourd'hui, car j'avais fait mes adieux à l'Eurogroupe lors de la dernière rencontre. Il se trouve que la prolongation de la commission me donne l'occasion de retrouver mes collègues ici. Ce matin, j'ai présenté au nom de la commission les perspectives économiques pour 2019, 2020 et 2021, qui sont caractérisées, et j'en parlerai ici au ministre, par disons une phase de plateau, c'est-à-dire une modération de la croissance pendant les années suivantes. Et dans ce contexte-là, nous aurons une discussion thématique sur la recherche et l'innovation qui est particulièrement importante parce que la recherche et l'innovation sont précisément parmi les investissements qui permettent de doper, booster la croissance européenne et de sortir de ce plateau par le haut, car nous savons qu'à côté de ça, il y a des risques qui, eux, tirent plutôt vers le bas. Nous aurons aussi une discussion sur la réforme du mécanisme européen de stabilité qui est bienvenue, et aussi sur EDIS, la garantie des dépôts. Je veux à cet égard saluer l'ouverture d'Olaf Scholz qui retrouve l'inspiration originelle d'une union bancaire qui repose sur 3 piliers. La supervision, nous l'avons, la résolution, nous progressons, et maintenant la garantie des dépôts. Je sais aussi qu'il y aura des divergences de points de vue, des différences de points de vue, et qu'il faudra trouver le bon équilibre entre la réduction des risques et le partage des risques. Et donc il y aura encore beaucoup de travail, et ce sera à la prochaine commission de faire les propositions nécessaires. Enfin, je me réjouis de voir ici la nouvelle présidente de la Banque centrale européenne, Christine Lagarde, qui connaît admirablement et les sujets et l'Europe et l'Eurogroupe, mais elle sera de l'autre côté de la table désormais, c'est-à-dire à côté de la Commission, et je me réjouis de la voir dans quelques minutes. Déjà, les mots, c'est important. C'est-à-dire que jusqu'à présent, quand on parlait à nos amis allemands, aux ministres des Finances allemands successifs d'IDIS, de garantie de dépôt, la réponse était circulée, il n'y a rien à voir. Il n'y a que la réduction des risques et ce n'est pas une question. Pour la première fois, le ministre des Finances allemand, Olaf Scholz, dit il y a une vraie question, il y a un vrai sujet et je suis favorable à ce qu'on ouvre le débat. Après, comme vous dites, il faudra passer des mots aux choses, des mots aux décisions. Et pour ça, je le répète, c'est le message de la Commission, trouver le bon équilibre entre la réduction des risques, sur laquelle la logique allemande insiste toujours, et le partage des risques, qui est la solidarité nécessaire au sein de l'Union européenne.
On est parti, on ne sait pas quand, mais et vous croyez que, par exemple, monsieur, le président de l'Eurogroupe, M. Centeno, il va rester longtemps, il restera pour un deuxième mandat?
En tout cas, il me semble que tout le monde est satisfait de lui, et je le suis aussi.
What are your expectations for the upcoming U.S. decision on tariffs in Europe?
Well, first of all, it's clear that if I look at the EU growth, it is obviously linked to the world economy, and the world economy is now threatened by trade tensions. And that's why those trade tensions must be resolved. And we think first and foremost about the trade tensions between China and the US. And, well, let's look at what will happen in the days or weeks to come. But it would be, of course, good news to have an agreement between the US and China. As far as EU and US are concerned, I always thought that we were more than allies, friends, and that between friends you don't sanction each other. And to me that would be fully irrelevant that we have some escalation between EU and US, and I still expect that we can find a solution. If it's not the case, of course, the EU is fully ready to have the proper answers. That's normal, but at one moment we will also need to find a common way.
Mr. Moscovici, Emmanuel Macron has given an interview to The Economist, and he said, quote, the 3% deficit rule belongs to another century. It sounds very similar to what Salvini would say 6 months ago. Are you surprised that he would say that?
My role as the EU Commissioner for Economy and Finance is to make sure that the rules of the Stability and Growth Pact are respected. And I could say it another way, but maybe not exactly with the same meaning. Today, the 3% are respected by all EU countries, all of them, except Romania, but Romania is out of the Eurozone. And there is only one or two countries, there are only one or two countries above 2%. So, well, the Stability and Growth Pact is not a taboo. It can be revised, it can be amended. We can make it more simpler, we can make it more growth friendly, but let's not forget that the result is there. That at the beginning of the 2010 years, the average deficit was 6% in the Eurozone, that is 1%, that the public debt is diminishing almost everywhere. And public debt is the enemy of the economy. When you have too much debt, then you cannot invest. And that's why, well, let's not be consider a rule as a taboo, but let's consider that public debt is a common enemy.
And do you worry about Germany? Because you're predicting almost a technical recession, but Olaf Scholz said today he doesn't see anything wrong with Germany. So critics will tell you it's almost like Berlin is flying blind. They're not looking at the data that everyone else is looking at.
Let's not speak about data only. Let's speak about industry. And what we can see is that those countries in Europe, and this is the case especially for Germany, who are more industry-oriented, that are very open to exports, suffer more than others, as well from trade tensions, but also at the change of habits in the consumption set of the people towards automobile, for example. And so it happens that on the one hand, probably Germany needs structural changes in its own business model as a country, in its own industrial model. And that on the other hand, if it happens that we have a slowdown, or a higher slowdown in growth in Europe, it might be useful that Germany uses the room of maneuver that it has with its huge surpluses to invest more for its own sake, especially in infrastructure. And I could note that the business asks for it. It's not the EU Commission or the partners, the German business, BDI, asks for it, and also for the sake of the Eurozone as a whole. So the debate is not over, it's starting.
And do you see any progress on the banking union? Because the Italians just said they think it's pretty much a non-starter, especially when you look at the risk-free asset or not when it comes to sovereign.
It is a starter, it is an opening, it's not the end of the story. And obviously, we will need to strike the right balance between risk reduction, which is of course the German mindset, and risk sharing, which is needed if we want to have a balanced approach, which is good for everybody. But for the time being, I must say I welcome the opening by Olaf Scholz, because we are now able to discuss about EDIS at last. Thank you.